Hey Norwegian Cruise fans, and welcome to my channel Cruise with Grant, where we talk about all things Norwegian Cruise Lines. On today's episode, we're going to talk about something a little bit special. What happens when your cruise gets canceled? So without further ado, let's go. Now you may notice that I'm filming this video while on board the NCL Encore. I have to say, it was a little bit of a journey getting here. I was booked for vacation on the NCL Escape, and while there are many different reasons that cruises may be canceled these days, in this case, the Escape actually had an accident where they ran aground in the Dominican Republic, causing some minor hull damage, and the ship required repairs. I found out about the cancellation from my cruise initially through Facebook. I'm part of a lot of different online groups that talk about NCL cruises, and so people had started posting about notifications that they had received either directly or through their travel agents about the cancellation of sailings on the Escape. I contacted my travel agent where I booked my cruise, and they confirmed that NCL had recently sent them information about the cancellation as well. In the information that was provided by NCL, there were different options that were available to folks whose cruise had been canceled. And this may vary depending on your sailing, so I'm just sharing my experience with the NCL Escape. So NCL gave us the opportunity to change the cruise that was canceled to another sailing that was happening the same weekend. They also gave people the option to take a full refund, as well as a future cruise credit if they didn't want to rebook for another sailing that same weekend. It was important to note that in the communication NCL sent out, the decision about either taking a new cruise or to get the full refund had to be made within about 48 hours of the cancellation. So that's something to be aware of. If your cruise gets canceled, you may want to look at all of the options that are available and make a choice and contact NCL as soon as possible. Now, my situation was a little bit more complicated. The issue for me was that I had booked 2 cruises back to back on the Escape, and only one of them had been canceled. So initially, I spoke to my travel agent, and they advised that I contact NCL. There was a contact number for their resolution desk. After a long period of time on the phone, unfortunately, they were only authorized to be able to change the first cruise, so they weren't able to help me with syncing up the 2 parts of my back-to-back trip. So I had to reach out to my travel agent. Thank goodness for them. They were able to speak to NCL, but it was important. I learned that they were not able to make the change through the resolution desk. They contacted the finance department, who was able to then transfer over both of my reservations, so one under the terms and conditions of the cancellation. Then they were also able to change the second part of my trip over to the Encore, so I had back-to-backs that lined up. Now, one thing you'll want to make sure of if you're transferring any bookings over after a cancellation is that any other purchases that you've made, that those are also addressed in writing. So I had purchased some excursions ahead of time. NCL canceled those and provided a refund to me. But I had also purchased a soda package, which they transferred over. And I also had the onboard shareholder benefit that they transferred over. So what are the most important things that I took away from this experience of having one of my cruises canceled? I think I had never really considered thinking about cancellation insurance, but boy, do I wish that I had done it this time. NCL does directly offer some cancellation products, but you can also purchase private insurance either through your credit card provider or your airline or other travel agency. In this case, I was very lucky because NCL was able to make the changes for me directly, and I had also purchased cancellation insurance for all of my flights. One of them I could change directly with the airline and there was no penalty, but the other one I had to cancel and take a full penalty, so that's where I'm hoping that the insurance will help to cover that cost. Well, I've been on board the Encore. The Cruise Next team gave an excellent presentation explaining the Cruise Next program, and I'll be sharing some of those tips with you in a future video. But one of the things also that they said that I think rings true in this situation as well is always work with somebody when you're booking your cruise who can help you out. Because if a situation like this happens and you haven't worked with anybody, you're kind of on your own dealing with some of the resolution. So in my case, I worked with a travel agent, and so they were able to work directly with NCL to help sort out my situation. But whether you're working with a independent travel agent or you're working with a cruise consultant through NCL, it's a huge help to be able to navigate some of these things when everything doesn't go as planned. So that was my experience with having a cruise unfortunately get canceled. I hope it was helpful to share a little bit about the experience, what to expect, and things that I would do differently next time. If you found this video helpful, please remember to give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out and motivates me to create new videos to help you make the most of your cruise experience. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!